Just before we get started on this video, I'm going to let you guys know it was very, very hot that day. I don't look exactly beautiful. I just got back from traveling over the weekend, and I had 3 fans running in my room to try and keep me cool. So with all that set aside, let's get into the video. Good out, V&Vs, and welcome back to another questions and answers YouTube video. We have way more questions this time than we did last episode. If you haven't seen last episode, you can check that out right there. And hey, you'll learn a lot more this time about me than last time. So without further ado, let's get into these questions. And our first set of questions all come from the same username, 360. Thank you for all of these. Tor, why don't you play any horror games? Ya wuss? And that's just because I don't like horror. I've never been a horror fan. Horror games, horror movies, I get scared too easily. The closest to a horror game that I've ever played that you guys can see is actually up on the YouTube channel, which is when we played Through the Woods on stream, and then I uploaded the parts onto YouTube, so you guys can look at that right here if you want to. And like even that, it was a semi-horror game. It was more of a thriller suspense game, walking simulator, than like a horror game like Resident Evil or anything like that. But even it had its scares and its atmosphere. For some people it would be like mediocre, but for me it was like, it was terrifying, and I had a bad time. So it was a great game. I recommend playing it. It was fun. It was a good story, but that's like the most amount of horror I can deal with, just because I get scared very, very easily, and I don't like being scared. Some people love horror games because they like the thrill of being scared. I don't. I don't like being scared. Please don't do it. Leave me alone. Tor, why did you choose WinglessValkyrie as your username? Is it because you have a Viking ancestry, or do you like the Norse culture? While I do have a Norse ancestry, being half Danish, half Canadian, and I do like Norse culture, the WinglessValkyrie username actually didn't come because of either one of those. Way, way back in the day when I was a little squeak, Rafixix, my best friend Jackson, tried to get me into this game called League of Legends. You might have heard of it. And at the time I was using the same username all across everything. It was either Torsten619 or it was Torsten007 when Torsten619 didn't work. Now when I tried to make a League account, Torsten619 and Torsten007 were both taken. So I started just coming up with usernames on the spot. Torsten619 007, Torsten007 Torsten Dragon Rider Bond 619. I just kept on coming up with random different usernames, and none of them were working. They were all invalid or taken. And along the line, I completely went off the beaten path, and it just became like random stuff. And suddenly I went Wingless Angel, taken. WinglessValkyrie, approved. Done! I was so sick of trying to make usernames at that point. I spent 10 minutes trying to come up with usernames, and I just remember I tried Wingless Angel, it was taken, and I did WinglessValkyrie, and it wasn't taken, it was valid, and I was like, boom, done. This is my username, let's play League of Legends. I didn't care anymore. I didn't even care what the username was or anything. It worked. I wanted to play the game, I went. But then over time, I grew to really, really like the name WinglessValkyrie because it is Norse culture and everything. And although everyone always makes fun, it's like, hey, you know Valkyries are typically females, right? You know what? Get over it. We're breaking the path here. Also, people like to, if you're a WinglessValkyrie, why do you have wings on your chair? Because who puts wings on their chair? Nobody. Exactly. That's why I did it. Making my own path. Lit, fam. So that's how the WinglessValkyrie username came. It was no planning or strategic, like, oh, that'd be really cool. It was literally frustration in trying to make a username for League of Legends, and that one finally worked, and I was like, cool, let's go with that. So, and it grew on me, and now I use it for everything, because I really, really like the name. Woo! Tor, what games would you try for this year 2017 and look forward to see coming out soon? While of right now there are no games for 2017 that are out right now that I want to try, but, and this is a very big but because we don't know if this game is coming out in 2017, Kingdom Hearts 3 news has been ramping up really, really high recently with all the little teasers and sneak peeks and stuff. And even coming this weekend on Friday with the Disney thingy that's going on. I don't know exactly what it is, but Jacksepticeye is hosting it, and there is more news for Kingdom Hearts 3 coming out that day. Hopefully a release date. Hopefully, please, Yamura, please. But as many of you guys know, Kingdom Hearts 2 is my favorite game ever created. It's the game that got me into video games. It's remained one of my highest favorited, loved games ever. I've played the entirety of it 20 times over. I love Kingdom Hearts 2 to death. It is probably one of the only video games in existence I would might consider getting a permanent tattoo for, because I don't like tattoos because needles scare the shit out of me. But Kingdom Hearts 2, you need to understand, came out in between like 2005, 2006, somewhere around there. It's 2017 and Kingdom Hearts 3 is still not out. It's been over a decade and there has not been Kingdom Hearts 3 yet. So all this news coming out with Kingdom Hearts 3, that if it is coming out 2017, it probably won't. It might come out early 2018. But if Kingdom Hearts 3 is coming out this year, 2017, that is the one game I am very, very, very excited for. Tor, would you ever host a LAN party in Canada for your viewers to come and play games with you? No, for a couple of reasons. Not that I don't want to meet you guys. I definitely want to meet you guys. That would be hella cool and totally awesome. My home is like, it's my home. It's my private like area. This is where I can feel safe. This is where I feel comfortable and reside. And I don't want that kind of access being known publicly, you know? You hear about YouTubers and streamers talking about it all the time when their viewers find out where they live and everything, and they camp outside their house, or they just go there unexpected and just like, hey, can I get your autograph? Hey, can I take a picture with them? And like, that's not cool. You don't do that. I understand liking a YouTuber or a streamer. Believe me, I do. I understand the feeling of like, oh, I know where they live and maybe they live really close to me, but that's their home. That's their place of solitude. You can't just show up there unexpected and just, you know, demand attention. Now, while this wouldn't be showing up unexpected, as you say, this is like a scheduled LAN party or such, you still run the risk of, yes, you are giving your address to people who you've never met before, like IRL, but you also run the risk of them leaking that information as much as you trust them to outside sources, and then that's when problems happen. I'd be totally down to do a LAN party at an event or something like that. That would be totally cool. We're probably a long ways from anything like that ever happening, but it would be cool. Would you ever go to Japan to confirm that Ryan is a man? For those of you who don't know, we have a viewer and a mod from our Twitch channel. Her name is Lily Lilac T. She is supposedly, this is the running joke, she's a female, 21 years old, from Japan. But she, whenever we are playing League games or she's in voice chat with Twitch after parties or stuff like that, she never turns on her microphone, so no one's ever really heard her voice before except for tiny little snippets of her laughing and such like that. And also no one's ever seen what she looks like either. So the running joke in the community is that Lily Lilac T is not actually a 21-year-old girl from Japan. She's actually Ryan Reynolds from America. I don't know, I can't remember how that joke started or where it came from, but that's what he's essentially asking. And to answer your question 360, would I go to Japan to confirm that Lily is Ryan? By going to Japan, I wouldn't be able to confirm that, because if Lily is Ryan Reynolds, going to Japan wouldn't confirm anything, because A, Japan's a large place. How am I gonna find one person without them giving me a specific address? And then they'd have to know the address. And I'd have to like run into Ryan Reynolds there. I'd have to go to Japan, go to an address that Lily would give me, and then find Ryan Reynolds at that address. It's a very complicated measure. So would I ever go to Japan? Hell yes. Would I go to Japan just to meet Lily? That's pushing it. I mean, like, Lily's a great person. She's an excellent mod. I don't think I'd go all the way to Japan just to meet her. Maybe if she promised me some like next level legendary sushi from Japan itself, crafted from her Ryan Reynolds Deadpool hands, maybe. We'll see. These next set of questions come from Doge, or Dog. We all pronounce it differently. What's the closest you've ever come to death? There are two instances I can think of right off the top of my head for the closest I've ever come to death. The first one being when I was really when I was just a wee lung. When I was very, very young, my mom had horses at our house and she put me on top of a horse for the first time ever. And we discovered in that instance, I don't remember this moment because I was a tiny little kid, but she found out that I couldn't breathe all of a sudden. She put me on the horse for like 30 seconds and suddenly I stopped breathing and I was wheezing and I wasn't able to breathe. So she rushed me into the bathtub and just like dumped hot water on me, trying to get, I don't know, me to inhale heat stuff to expand my lungs. Science stuff, I don't know. But we discovered in that instance that I have an extremely bad allergic reaction to horses. So bad so that afterwards, when they took me to the hospital and everything, they gave me an EpiPen to carry around basically for the rest of my life. Now, while my allergies for horses have gone down severely over the past several years, and the EpiPen I have in my backpack is probably expired, and I probably shouldn't carry it around anymore, maybe I should do something about that. I've been around horses a couple times since then, and I've been able to ride one for like a good hour before I start sneezing a little bit. So I'm no longer like deathly allergic to horses, but I'm still a little allergic to horses. I'd say that's been my first close encounter with death. My second close encounter with death would be a couple years ago. I was driving down a back road in Alberta in my dad's pickup truck, and I came to the top of, I was on a gravel road, mind you. I came to the top of a hill, and there was a big drop in the hill and then a bridge. And I could see there was a semi-truck just about to hit the bridge over here, and it was creating a large dust cloud behind it, basically filling up the entire area down here. So I was like, okay, I'm going to go down this hill, I'm gonna enter in this dust cloud, but I know there's a semi-truck way the hell out here. What I did not know was that there was a second semi-truck in this dust cloud that was hidden from my vision that I could not see. So I went down this hill, and like the moment I entered into this dust cloud, the tail end of the semi-truck showed up in my vision, and I was, I didn't even have time to react. I saw it for a split second, and wham! I hit that thing like head on. The truck flipped around like this for a couple times, and then it struck the side of the semi-truck and then caused the truck to actually barrel over several times. And I just remember seeing the tail end of the truck and then just stopping, grabbing my head and going like this, and I just braced, and I just felt the truck spinning, and then all of a sudden I felt the truck tip over, and then I was rolling. Yeah, it was not a fun time. But the truck ended up stopping completely upside down. I unclipped my seatbelt, and I crawled out of the truck and stood up, and I was totally fine. I had like a couple tiny little scratches from gravel from crawling out of the truck, but that was it. I didn't have any type of injuries or damage from the vehicle itself. Paramedics came out to the scene, and like they looked me over and they looked at the truck. The truck was completely gone. Like the truck was flat, crumpled up. It was done. That truck had no recovery whatsoever. But they looked at me and they looked at my dad's pickup truck, and they were like, "You should have died." So I'll consider that my second close encounter with death. Just the fact that the paramedics like looked me over, looked at the truck, and was like, "You should have died." So woo! What is the game you first played that made you think, yeah, I like video games? That would definitely be Kingdom Hearts 2. It was the first video game I ever like fully dived in, fully played, and everything. And yeah, so Kingdom Hearts 2, 100%. If you haven't played Kingdom Hearts 2, do it. If you haven't played any Kingdom Hearts games, do it. You can actually get the full remastered HD versions of everything. If you have a PlayStation 4, guarantee buy Kingdom Hearts HD remasters of 1.5 and 2.5. It's all on one disc. All the games now on one disc. You can play it on one console. Do it. And then you'll be ready for Kingdom Hearts 3 whenever that comes out. So good. Do it. Were you bullied in elementary school? Not only was I bullied in elementary school, but I was also bullied in middle school, and I was bullied in high school. I was bullied essentially throughout my entire like grade 1 to grade 12 years. I was bullied at some point in time. I was definitely bullied a lot more in middle school than I was bullied in elementary school or high school. But I also leave that to the fact that in middle school I had hair down to like here, no, probably even longer than that, and it was in the style of a mullet. Now I had long hair, like just all around long hair before this, and I was in boxing at the time. But after going to a couple rounds of boxing, we had to wear headgear, right? But my hair kept on getting into my face on the headgear. It wouldn't stay back. Now, I don't know why they told me this, but after I went to a boxing tournament and everything, and we had to keep stopping to put the hair on my face, and I wasn't allowed to just wear a ponytail. I don't know, I can't remember why. They wouldn't let me. But they basically told me, it was like, if you want to continue boxing in tournaments with this headgear, you'll either have to cut off all your hair and make it short, or you'll have to get a mullet if you want to keep your long hair. And I was like, well, I guess I'm getting a mullet if I want to keep my long hair and keep boxing, so that's what I did. And of course, you know, having a mullet and being one of the only guys with long hair, also just in the style of a mullet, you become, you know, picked on a lot for a very long time. It sucked. But I eventually found my own close friend group, Jackson being one of them. He's still my friend to this day. We've been friends for almost a decade now. It's getting close there. We've been friends for almost a decade, since middle school. And that's what it basically, if any of you guys are out there dealing with bullying in school, doesn't matter what it is, middle school, high school, elementary school, if you're watching this in elementary school, wow, or even college, stuff like that, I'd say the best thing to do is just find, if you can, find one, even just one friend that you can hang out with that treats you as a human being and is friends with you for you. That's probably the best thing you can do. One thing I will say happened to me in late middle school. There was one guy who was picking on me constantly in middle school, and he kept on saying like, wow, you're in boxing, but like, why don't we fight then, see how tough you really are? And he would always like, when he walked past me, he would like push me into lockers and stuff and call me a girl and all kinds of really mean stuff in like middle school. This is really mean stuff. And I remember complaining about it to my dad when I came home one day. And my dad told me, he said, next time he says he wants to fight you, you say yes. You say, all right, after school, meet me at like the basketball court behind the school or wherever, it doesn't matter. You tell him, all right, you meet me behind the school after the final bell, just you. I'll be there, just me, you come, just you. Don't bring any of your friends, just you. We'll fight. We'll sort this out right then and there. Me and you, one-on-one, let's fight. That's what my dad told me to do. So I didn't know what else to do, and I didn't want to keep taking this shit, so I said, all right, that's what I'm gonna do. And sure enough, the next day, he came up to me while I was at my locker, shoved me into it, and was like, what are you gonna do about it? Are you gonna punch me? And I turned, and of course, his friends were behind him, right? He had 3 or 4 friends behind him. And I stood up and I turned to him and I said, all right, you wanna fight? After the final bell, meet me behind the school after the buses are gone, and we'll fight. None of your friends can come, just you. Show up, I will be there. And his face just dropped. He was like, okay, yeah, see you then. And he walked away. And you know what happened? I went there after the final bell. I stood there and I waited. I told my friends to go home. I was gonna stay there. My dad would pick me up. And I waited for half an hour after the final bell. And you know what happened? He didn't show up. He didn't come there. None of his friends showed up. He didn't show up. No one was there. It was just me. After half an hour waiting, I went inside. I used the school's phone, called my dad. He came and picked me up. And you know what happened after that day? He never picked on me ever again. Not once. In my experience, confronting them and playing them at their own game and calling them out, they usually will back down because they're all talk and there's no action. Can you say that Doge Cake is a real man's man? I just did. You're welcome. This next question comes from Plaza Toast. Why don't you have any pets? Or did you? So recently I actually had a pet for a couple days. His name was Murphy. Some of you guys might remember that. I also tried to get a different dog named Litta. You can see the video over here. And I had pets growing up when I lived at home. I had 2 German Shepherds and 3 llamas, because I was allergic to horses, so my mother got llamas instead. And we had 2 birds, a cow at one point, bunny rabbits, and all kinds of different animals. And I was fine with all of them growing up. But then when I moved here to Kelowna, every time I visited back home, I would get extremely wheezy, I would sneeze, my eyes would run, I couldn't sleep at night, it was bad. So for some reason, I think I just, like, if I had allergies to dogs, they were not as bad when I was growing up, and then all of a sudden moving to a different location, not being around any animals anymore, made my allergies worse, because every time I visit home, it's just like, it's a death trap now. And then I tried to adopt a dog, but all of a sudden I had really bad allergies to him as well. With Murphy, I couldn't even pet him and I would just start sneezing and eyes running. It was all bad. So I don't have any pets. I want pets really badly, but it seems I'm gonna have to get, if I ever want to get a pet, it's gonna have to be a hypoallergenic pet. Dogecake asks, do you have crippling depression? I know this joke is meant to be taken as in like a funny way, as in like, do you have crippling depression? Yeah, I have crippling depression, kind of thing, but I'm gonna be serious for a moment. If you don't wanna listen to serious talk about depression and stuff like that, skip to this part of the video where we resume with more better questions and such. I'm gonna be serious for a bit, and yeah. So if you don't like serious talk, skip to this part of the video. If you wanna hear about it, then just stay watching. So while Doge asks, like, do you have crippling depression? Like the straightaway answer would be no. But I think I have something. I don't want to go as far as saying like, yeah, I have depression, because depression is a very, very big thing, and it's a touchy subject for a lot of people. So I'm not gonna go just out there and be like, yep, I have depression, because that's just, it's inaccurate. I don't think I have depression as it's stated, but I think I think I have something. I've always kind of been not like that productive, I guess, in my life. I get very, very distracted easily and such. I come up with things, I have ideas all the time for like YouTube videos, for Twitch streams, for movies and stuff like that. Like I mentioned in Trifectum Ultima, I'll have ideas come up and like random bursts of influence, and I'll write them down to get really excited, but then like the following day it all goes away, and I don't want to do anything with it. So I'm really, really bad at doing that. Like even this video, I wanted to get up this morning, do this video, get it underway, and then spend like the entire day editing it. It's almost 4 p.m. now, and I'm just starting the video now because I've just been sitting around not really doing much, watching YouTube videos and other live streams and stuff. And I've always been that way, like for as long as I can remember. I do eventually get around to doing stuff when I just, you know, kick myself in the ass. Like, you know what, if you want to do this, like if you want to do this kind of thing for a career, if you want to have live streaming and YouTubing and content creating as your career, you have to work at it. You have to do work. And eventually I get around to kicking myself in the ass and recording like we're doing now. Over these past few months, I've definitely gotten worse at doing that. My life has kind of, it's been a struggle. Again, this is from my perspective and my living situation. I don't want people coming at me like people have it worse than you and stuff. One quote that I really, really love just in regards to that is saying you can't be sad because people have it worse than you is like saying you can't be happy because people have it better than you. So just keep that in mind. But recently, over these past few months, I lost my steady job. I used to work for a company that I always knew what my hours were. They were the same every single week. My shifts were the same. It was steady income and it was good. And I could plan my life around it. I could schedule streams. I could schedule and everything. It was great. It was wonderful. It was a good job. And I had a girlfriend. I had Kayla in my life, and she was great, and everything was, you know, everything was going just fine. I still had student loans. I still have student loans, but like I was able to somewhat stay on top of them. But within these past few months, I lost that job. I have a better one coming sometime soon, within the next month or so. Basically what happened is I got the new job at the airport, and at the same time as getting that job, they had told me that you won't be starting this job for a couple of months. It's a very long process. And I was like, okay, that's fine. I have a job right now that I can work on until this job starts up. But then I lost that job, the steady income job that I was working at. I'm not gonna go into details why. It's personal stuff that happened between me and the company, and I ended up losing my position there. So I went into panic mode because I'm now unemployed. I have another job coming, but it's not starting for several months, and I still need a way to like feed myself and house myself and pay for these student loans. And I got the job at the casino, just part-time, picking up random shifts here and there, and I was like, you know what, this is okay. Then I can just work this until the airport job kicks off. The casino shifts are all over the place. I never know when they are. They just call me and they're like, hey, can you work this and then this and this, and they're not scheduled, and it's very, very flustered and out of place and random, but it's what I am doing right now, and it's what I'm making money from. So I had that change in my life, and then of course I had Kayla and I splitting apart, and like Kayla and I splitting apart wasn't like a really, really big fight kind of thing. It was just her decision, and I just kind of had to go along with it, of course. So that happened as well, and I lost Kayla that way. Now, don't get this wrong. I'm not blaming Kayla for this, and I'm not blaming losing the job for this. With those kind of situations happening to me, and suddenly I got depressed, and I think maybe a part of me still is. Again, I'm not saying I have depression, because that's a big statement to make, and I don't want to make that kind of statement without any kind of justification. I will say I have definitely been happier in my life. I've definitely, felt more myself in life, and I don't right now, and that's probably because I'm swimming in debt with student loans and such, and it's really hard to stay on top of without that steady income and working just over minimum wage, not even 40 hours a week. And then I don't have a whole lot of friends here in Kelowna that I can hang out with. Like my closest friend here in Kelowna is probably Ashy, but even Ashy, like, she has a boyfriend, she has cosplays and stuff, and she's always busy, and she doesn't really want to hang out that much and stuff, and that's fine. Like, that's not a problem. It's just, to wrap this up, essentially, do I have crippling depression? No, I wouldn't say I do, but I haven't been myself in a while, and I haven't been as happy as I know I normally am in a while. And I'm hoping that once the airport job starts and I get back onto steady hours and really good pay, and I can get on top of my student loans, and I'm not worrying about if I can buy bread, I think I will. And I also think I need to venture out and, like, go to, I don't know, go to the bar and meet people. I don't even drink, but maybe that's what people do, right? I don't know. And just, like, have a close friend that I can hang out with, that I can talk to. Because, like, right now my closest friend is Jackson, but he's not here, right? Like, I talk to him over the internet all the time. And, like, Ashley is my only close friend here, but she's always busy with cosplays or work or with her boyfriend, which is fine. Hopefully things change relatively soon here. Hopefully, my mood improves and stuff starts happening, and, life gets better. But right now, it's not the best time of my life. I'm not at the highest point in my life right now. I'm not having, the time of my life, or, enjoying every day. But I'm hopeful things, improve in time. Would you be willing to do a Torchrise insert game of like an hour of gameplay and your end thoughts? Heck yeah, I would love to do that. The only problem is most games I can't afford right now because I have very, 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 very little money. But I get recommended games to play all the time and to try out, like, all the time. You guys are always asking me to try out different games and play different games and, like, share my opinions and my thoughts. And I would love to do that. I really, really would. I just don't have the money to buy all 10, 20 of the games you guys recommend for me to play and such. I don't have the funds to do that. If they're free games, then of course I can do that, but even if they cost like $5, that's $5 I don't have. Once I start making more money in the coming months here with the new job, then I can look into doing stuff like that, but right now it's out of the question. I would like to, I just can't. How do you plan to grow the channel further? For the Twitch channel, it really comes down to just consistency and streaming as often as I possibly can and sticking with like 1 or 2 games and building an audience that way. The 2 games I'm probably gonna end up sticking with is PlayerUnknown Battlegrounds and League of Legends. And some people are gonna be like, you can't stick with those, especially League of Legends, because it's impossible to grow from those games because they're massively popular and you'll just be buried under the amount of streamers that already have followings. And while that's true for brand new streamers, people who have nothing going for their channels because they're starting out, I at least have a bit of an upside there, whereas I'm not starting completely brand new and fresh. We have consistently between 5 to 8, sometimes even 10 viewers on the channel, so we're not buried at the very bottom underneath everything. And Twitch is also making it easier for League streamers to get noticed, whereas now you can search League streamers based on what character they are playing. So let's say you're a jungler that mains Warwick or Vi, like this dude. When you search for a League of Legends stream, you can type in champion Warwick, and it will bring up all the League streams that are playing Warwick in their game. And this is through some kind of coding magic between League of Legends and Twitch if you link your League of Legends with your Twitch account, which is great. And I've had people come in like, hey, I love playing Warwick. I searched Warwick and I found you. There's like you and 2 other people playing Warwick, so I decided to pick on you. So stuff like that is coming, and that's making it awesome for League streamers to definitely get, you know, somewhere and grow, which is really, really nice and helpful. And PlayerUnknown Battlegrounds is it's just fun to play. I'm having way more fun playing PlayerUnknown Battlegrounds than I ever did with H1Z1. Granted, I've at least won H1Z1, but I've never won PlayerUnknown Battlegrounds. Soon though, soon. So to grow the channel, essentially for Twitch, it's just stream more often and more consistently, which is really, really difficult with the job right now with this all over the place work schedule, and I can't, you know, set scheduled streams and stuff like that. So that's making it difficult. But once I get the set schedule at the airport, it'll be much easier to be like, all right, these are the times we're gonna be live every single, like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday at these times. This is when I'm live. It won't change because I have a consistent schedule. I can't do that right now, but I will. And then for the YouTube channel, I don't really know how to grow this YouTube channel per se. Like, basically just make more content is like the only thing I can really think about, is just make more YouTube videos so that you have more to offer. But kind of the same thing goes with the YouTube channel, is it needs to be more consistent. And I also feel like I need to direct more of like what this channel is about, because people subscribe to YouTube channels for a certain style of content from that channel, where mine are all over the place. Like I have some random vlogs, I have reviews, I have questions and answers, I have gameplay, I have like music stuff, vocal covers or stuff like that. So it's all over the place, but and that's okay, because this YouTube is my personal YouTube. If I want to upload something, I'm going to upload it, and that's okay. I'm more focused with growing the Twitch page, because I seem to have more success there than here on YouTube. I want to grow both, I do, but this one, I'm going to keep this YouTube channel as just my personal stuff, and anything personal related that I wanted to upload, I'm going to upload it on here. I'm not going to make separate channels for every different thing. The only time I've made a separate channel is for Trifectum Ultima, because that is a very, very, very peculiar type of content that I don't want to throw in with like my personal YouTube like this. It is a show that is going to be airing, and I don't want to throw that in with my random like reviews and music covers and stuff. It's its own thing. By the way, Trifectum Ultima, new episodes coming out every single month. Episode 1's coming out on the 3rd next month. Should you be able to check it out, go over there, subscribe, link down below. Just saying! When are you going to ban sushi? Oh, just give me a second here. There. Done. Just kidding, I didn't actually ban him. Relax, Sushi, you're fine. And that's it for this questions and answers video. We had way more questions that time than last time, which is really awesome. I like doing these longer videos so that like you guys can get more stuff. You can learn more about me, and you can form new questions, because you're like, oh, okay, now I want to ask about this and stuff. So I'm glad we got to be able to do a longer type of video than last time. What did we have last time? Like 3, 4 questions? Something like that? I don't know, but this is a good one. I'm proud. I like this video. This was good. So thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, tell your friends. If you didn't, you tell me. Have yourself a good one, everybody. Woo! Score!